Anybody who's played any amount of Deadlock knows that having your soul orb denied is the single most frustrating experience in the entire game. The gameplay behind soul orbs comes from Deadlock's MOBA DNA. Players farm minions, I think they're actually called troopers, but I'm going to call them minions, which grants them souls that act as both currency to buy items and experience to upgrade abilities. There's usually two reasons that the enemy is able to deny your soul orb. Situation 1, they are faster and more accurate than you. Situation 2, you killed a minion in a location where the soul orb will spawn in a much more convenient place for the enemy to shoot before you, or where you might not see it spawn at all. Both of these situations are complete skill issues, coming from shooters and MOBAs respectively. In shooters, you're rewarded primarily for your ability to shoot as quickly and accurately as possible, whereas in MOBAs, you're rewarded for your ability to understand positioning, pressure, and itemization. The reason it's so frustrating is because you realize not only is your enemy laner getting stronger, but it's at the expense of your own progression. Without knowing exactly what source and processing they used, it's a bit of a fool's errand to try and recreate such a designed sound exactly, so I've created a similar sound which could serve the same gameplay function and allows us to dissect how it works. So the secured sound has four main components. You have a main crunch, which I've created using mostly newspaper processed into a hit with some low end from some kick drums layered underneath. A popping sound, which happens before the main crunch, made out of pill bottles popping. Chimes, made out of chimes. And some vocal samples, which pitch up over time to represent the souls, made from samples out of my library. The reason this sound feels good is because it is just a satisfying sound. The pop and the crunch and the angelic voices and chimes are all extremely positive sounds that video games have been using as a positive reinforcement for decades, with the tail being somewhat similar to healing sound effects. The denial sound has two main components, glass breaking being pitched down over time, and a dissonant tonal sound, which I've created using tubby detuned voices layered with a synth. And I have no idea what they used. I could not figure it out. I tried recreating it. I'm not really sure. I'm sure it's probably very obvious in hindsight or something, but I just could not figure that out. This combination creates a sound that is immediately negative to us for a few reasons. Dissonance is a more complicated or completely broken pattern of sound waves, which our brain stresses to make sense out of. When you're out in nature, birds and animals often make noises or sing in patterns we can recognize. In contrast to that, sounds that are dissonant in nature, like screaming, fighting, crashing, dangerous weather, and most importantly, crying babies. So is Deadlock preying on thousands of years of, or millions of years of evolution within us? Maybe, but I think a lot of things do, you know, and that's part of how it's become so part of culture in so many different genres of music especially. But anyways, I think from a gameplay perspective, why it's so frustrating though is because you often hear the deny sound while you're also trying to shoot the orb yourself. Meaning you not only don't get the positive feedback that you were expecting, but you receive the punishment sound. Trying to deny an orb yourself and having the enemy secured for themselves doesn't feel nearly as bad because you didn't form that quick expectation that then gets denied. The mechanic constantly gets your hopes up and either fulfills them or crushes them. Thank you for watching my first real piece of content. The other videos on my page aren't probably going to be too relevant for you. It's mostly just long form ramblings about redesigns that I did, but I'd like to make more videos on this topic, sort of the intersection between game audio design and game design. I find that super, super interesting and I think about it all the time when I'm playing games, obviously. And I'd love to make more videos exploring more games, especially ones that I've played or maybe ones that people recommend. So if this is interesting to you, please let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, message me. I'd love to chat about this and anything. And if you need audio work, please contact me. Game audio, mixing and mastering, you got a podcast or something? I'm open for whatever. I can make anything sound better. And if you're in Southern Ontario, I can get you hooked up with nice recording studios. Yeah, so hit me up. Peace, enjoy, have a good night.